Hey guys, how's it going? So today I wanted to discuss an ongoing issue in the Smash community regarding the new DLC character, Hero from Dragon Quest. There are decent arguments on both sides of people who believe that Hero should be banned or not. So which side do I stand on? Should Hero be banned? Well, no. It doesn't really make much sense. Now sure, Hero does have a ridiculous amount of abilities at his disposal. But like every Smash character, there are countermeasures. For one, Hero is very slow, and all of his attacks have at least some warning signs. This especially includes the command menu, which will tell you all possible moves that could be used in that scenario. If you properly position your character away from Hero, or you try to hit him before he can properly use the best move for that action, then you're pretty much in good shape. I normally play against Hero the same way I would play against characters, for example like Ganondorf, both of whom have very strong smash attacks and special attacks. You gotta keep your distance while also playing aggressive so that they can't get those big attacks in, and if you do that, you should be in good shape. I don't think Hero should be banned for the sole reason that he's juggling so much that it's so hard to stay consistent with this character. Not only do you have to focus on your opponent, you also have to worry about all the options in your command menu and properly managing your MP. If you use too much, then you'll be done and you can't even recover. So Hero does have weaknesses, not to mention slow aerial attacks. Because of all his disadvantages, and if you're playing smart, the better player will win. I can't think of a better example than if you take a look at Shulk's character. In theory, he looks like he's very overpowered, but when you take a look at the core aspects of his character and you put him in practice, you can see that he has a lot of weaknesses, and it's going to take a very skilled player to succeed. The fundamentals of Shulk's character is high risk, high reward. His Monado arts will give you great advantages, but also giving you great disadvantages. So you can go into Buster mode and do a 50 damage combo, but you could also take just as much damage in Buster. So on the surface, it may seem like Shulk has ridiculous amounts of power, but in the end, it's just too hard to stay consistent with everything Shulk has to factor into each match. Even though he has so many powers, people would still rather play more consistent characters. I myself was a Shulk main from day one when Smash Ultimate came out, but then later down the line when I started going up the ranks in GSP, it was just too hard to stay consistent against certain matchups where they would outsmart me or I would take too much of a risk and then throw the match. And then when Joker came out, I picked him up and I got way more consistent wins. So why am I making this comparison? Well, I personally believe that while it may seem that Hero has the most impressive kit and he has no weaknesses, he definitely does, and as time goes on we'll see that it's just too hard to stay consistent with him and to pull off everything that we think he can pull off, because in the end it's not as easy as we think. Now that we got that down, however, there is a big difference between these two characters. While both have risky and powerful options, one takes much more skill to pull off than the other. That being Shulk. For example, once Shulk activates the Monado art for Buster, he has a certain amount of time to perfectly optimize his abilities while also trying not to get hit to get the same amount of damage done to him that he is about to give to his opponent. With Hero, he does all that damage in one critical hit. All that damage being done to you is completely random and doesn't take any effort or skill to get all that extra damage. So what's the proper course of action here? Well, first off, I don't think banning should even be considered, especially without any results. Hero hasn't proved himself to be a major problem yet, but even I can admit some moves are really scary, and with the proper practice and skill, it may become an issue. And while we yet to have some real concrete results, I think the Smash teams should consider giving Hero a nerf, simply because of the fact that he can do things like this. So clearly Hero does have some abilities that are way overpowered that don't take that much skill. I've only been using Hero for about 2 hours online, and those were my results. Now don't get me wrong, I still think he's too slow and too inconsistent to be a major threat. A threat big enough to be banned, definitely not. But if you do look at examples such as that, I don't think it's too outrageous to consider a nerf, and I think it could be justified. One nerf in particular definitely needs to be made to critical hits. They can keep critical hits, but instead of it doing as much damage and knockback as it does, they could instead make it that it does a lot of damage but not too much knockback, so it's not a complete death sentence. Critical hits should work like Shulk's Buster mode, where it does a lot of damage but it doesn't do a lot of knockback, so you could still recover from a critical hit. And honestly, I think that lowering the knockback on critical hits is the only nerf that they really would make to Hero. I don't think they would change any of his whack abilities or hocus pocus or anything, because in the end, they know that it's not as easy as everybody thinks it is to pull off this stuff. So in conclusion, I believe that Hero could be nerfed if they really think it's going to be a problem, but I do not think he should ever be banned. And right now, our only course of action is to wait and see how he turns out in competitive play, and right now it doesn't seem like he's too much of a threat, but he does have some options that could be particularly troubling, especially with stuff like playing against people who don't speak the same language as you. How do you read the command menu? So I think right now we just gotta play the waiting game and we'll see what happens. But that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, I'll see you later.